President Trump and the Republican Party are seeing their poll numbers plummet, and that is from a poll taken before the Comey firing. We're going to ask former Republican Congressman and good friend to the show, Shays, about that and a whole lot more. Then, how the Comey firing was handled is almost as stunning as the firing itself. We'll take a look behind the scenes. Also, the new book on tyranny that's really striking a chord with people, especially this week in the wake of the Comey firing. We talked to the author before the revelations even came out. Now imagine the context as we speak. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. We'll have that conversation with the author of that book coming up. But we begin tonight with what else? The firing of FBI Director James Comey. Now, on Capitol Hill today, acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe testified before the Senate Intelligence Committee about the Bureau's probe into Russian meddling in our election. That, as the White House continues to explain and defend its decision. The White House initially claimed that James Comey was fired at the recommendation of Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. But speaking to NBC News, President Trump said that was never the case.
He made a recommendation, but regardless of recommendation, I was going to fire Comey.
The White House had also said that Comey had to go because he was not supported by staff.
The rank and file of the FBI had lost confidence in their director.
But the new acting director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, said that was not the case.
I can tell you that I hold Director Comey in the absolute highest regard. Director Comey enjoyed broad support within the FBI and still does to this day.
There is one reason for Comey's dismissal that has Democrats and even some Republicans concerned: Comey's role heading up the Russian investigation. This is prompting some who previously opposed an independent investigation to rethink the suggestion.
We have got to get rid of this cloud over this country. This is in the best interest of the president. It's the best interest of the Republicans or Democrats. We're in a bad place.
Meanwhile, the president's other comments calling Comey a showboat are not sitting well with members of either party at the Senate Intelligence Committee.
I'm offended at the president's comments today.
I found him to be one of the most ethical, upright, straightforward individuals I've had the opportunity to work with.
Of course, Senator Burr was not talking about the president there. He was talking about the former FBI director, Mr. Comey. Now, Democrats, of course, to a person, more than upset about all these developments. And by the day, if not by the hour, more and more Republicans also want a lot more answers. Take a listen for yourself.
We should have a select committee or a commission because it's a very large issue. It's gotten larger.
The timing and the reasons for this decision made little sense to me.
The White House's timing here was less than impeccable.
Obviously, when you have the president fire the FBI director and there's an active investigation going on, then there are questions that need to be answered.
And just when the GOP might need a boost, it looks like it is taking a direct hit. Quinnipiac polls are out today, but I want to remind you the numbers I'm about to show you were taken before Comey was fired. And they show a party that is struggling, to put it politely, to connect. Now, the majority of people would like to see Democrats take control of the House of Representatives. Fewer than 40% would like the GOP to retain control. Plus, take a look at these approval ratings. Only a third have a positive opinion of Democrats, but Republicans, they're sitting at 22%. And more than 71% view the GOP unfavorably right now. The president's approval rating, it sits at 36%. To talk about this and so much more, we're joined by Shays, resident fellow at the Institute of Politics at the Harvard Kennedy School. He's a former Republican congressman from Connecticut, 10 terms, serving 21 years in Congress. And among the many committees served on, he was 10 years chairman of the National Security and Foreign Affairs Committee of the Government Oversight. Good, as always, to talk to you, my friend. I appreciate the time. And first question, Congressman, have we crossed over into Nixonian territory here?
Oh, I think so. I mean, you know, John Kasich, the governor of Ohio, said, when you're on a plane, you pray for the pilot. And but frankly, I'm beyond that. I'm praying for my country. I'm praying that folks here will no longer tolerate what he's doing, the things he says, the things he does. And we clearly need an independent prosecutor to look at what's taking place. If he felt that you needed to replace the director of the FBI, he needed to do that, frankly, on a bipartisan basis. He needed to make sure that the new one would have the approval of all Americans, not just partisan Republicans. And frankly, he then needed to say, we're going to have a special prosecutor, and I've ordered all my staff to cooperate fully. That's what he needs to do.
If he doesn't do that, and the political wind or pressures within the Senate don't compel him to go down that road, could there be an independent commission set up that would have the funding and authority that could pretty much do the same thing? How would that work?
No, you really need someone in the Justice Department that is totally free from any political intervention, given, frankly, a blank check to look at all aspects of this. I mean, there are just so many elements to it. I mean, the people that have worked in his campaign, that have had close contacts with the Russians, the fact that he's depended a lot on financial resources from the Russian oligarchies, the fact that he has an individual on the cabinet that was the vice chair of the Cyprus Bank, that was where the Russians laundered a lot of money. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And for the good of our country, we just need to put this behind us, but we won't until there's an independent look.
Do you believe Jim Comey was fired to try and stifle the investigation? And if you do, why haven't more Republicans come on board? A bunch have, but not certainly a majority as it relates to the House or Senate.
Well, I mean, some Republicans represent districts where they truly love Donald Trump. And what will happen is more will come out. More will come out. And you'll see a slow erosion of support from moderate Republicans and then even conservative Republicans. This isn't going away. It's not going to be easier for him. He lives in a world that is very strange to me. I've never seen anyone quite like him. He's never acknowledged a mistake, and he thinks that anything he does is okay. We're not Turkey. We're not Venezuela. We're not China. We're not Russia. We're the United States of America, and democracy reigns, and he needs to protect it. We need him to realize that our founding fathers, like George Washington, cared about the future of our country. He obviously doesn't.
You know, we have seen political heroes before in trying times in this country. I remember when we pushed back McCarthy, a lot of that would go to the press and Edward Murrow. We certainly saw in the Nixonian times, Republicans stood with Democrats and they put country before party. The polls, if Republicans are looking, the new Q poll that came out is devastating. I know we got a ways to go to the midterms next November, but even if they've got worries, if they look at the math, I gotta think, Congressman, they're gonna say, we're gonna go down on this ship for this guy who will sell us out. I mean, look what he did to Comey. He will sell anybody out in a heartbeat. Why is there still attached loyalty? I know you said there's some really red districts where they gotta be careful, but some people have stuck their necks out from red districts already. I think it's smart politics, if nothing else.
Well, let's talk about Comey. You could say he made a number of mistakes. I think he did. You could say Democrats have reason to question some of his decisions. Republicans have reason to. But he was and is a good man. And to learn about his being fired in California makes it look like he was some kind of criminal. He deserved the president calling him in the office. He deserved to have a face-to-face. I know you have a 10-year assignment, but I'm going to terminate it, and we're going to find someone to replace you. I mean, everything about this just, it just makes me want to take a bath.
Finally, I heard what you said, that more is going to come out here. I agree with you 100%. I got to believe that public pressure is going to lead Republicans to say, let's get in front of this. Let's get an independent prosecutor or a special commission or something. My question is, when do you think leaks start happening? The president not only canned him in a very unprofessional way with Comey, he also said that basically no one supported him at the FBI. By all reports, including the testimony today from the acting director, that was not the case. I gotta figure if Comey was ramping up here that he was looking for more resources because there was more dirt that was coming out, people are going to start talking here even if the president thinks that he can stifle this.
Yeah, you've really answered the question. It's he won't be able to stifle it. It won't go away. I mean, he's already had to change the story about why he fired him and who initiated it. I mean, it'll be one change after another, and people will tire of it. And it's really sad because, frankly, we do have so many important issues to deal with. But the most important issue is to save our democracy. And he's threatening our democracy. That's the bottom line. He's threatening our democracy.
Well, Congressman, I certainly appreciate the time here. And unfortunately, I think we're going to have a lot more to talk about this story, and I'll reach out to you then. But as always, Chris, thank you so much. And everyone, we want to hear from you about this. What do you think about the Comey firing and the aftermath that has ensued? Post your videos or your comments to our Facebook page. So just search for Richard French Live or email us at rfl@rnntv.com. Now, last night we mentioned we'd like to take your phone calls. In fact, we mentioned this evening. So instead, we want to save more time for when tomorrow we will open up those lines. End of the week, your voice will be heard. We're going to put the number on the screen again tomorrow evening. But if you want to take a quick peek now, there it is, 38766-2428, toll-free number. Please be part of our program. Again, those calls tomorrow, but you can send in your comments right now. Now, we have heard from some of you, so keep those comments coming. One is from David from Oceanside, emailing us this. President Trump is running the office of the president as you would any big business. It's the bottom line that counts, and cover your backside. Will it work? I doubt it. Okay, Robert also chimed in writing, it's disgraceful. They must have something to hide. They need a special prosecutor. You just heard the congressman mention that as well. Coming up next, though, during times of crisis like Watergate and McCarthyism, as I mentioned a few minutes ago in the 50s, we did have American political heroes. They did the right thing. The question is, will we hear those voices now? We'll talk about that with the panel after this.